Let's go to Parliament now. It's emerging that the Speaker, Alban Badmin, may be absent once again when the controversial E-Levy is retabled for consideration next week. Now, the last time the Speaker was absent during the E-Levy consideration, it led to violent clashes among MPs on the floor of Parliament. JoyNews is learning the Speaker is due for another medical review this weekend. So the Speaker was away in Dubai for medical care in December, compelling the NPP MP for Bekwai, Joe Osei-Owusu, to act as Speaker, depriving him of a crucial vote in approving the E-Levy. Now, Mr. Osei-Owusu's attempt to vote triggered a period of violence that left some MPs injured. In a yet-to-be-aired interview on PM Express, Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak has revealed that the Speaker is due to travel for his routine medical checkup and will not likely be around when the consideration for the E-Levy resumes.
I'm sorry that sometimes I put some fine details. Everybody in leadership, unless you pretend not to know, you know Speaker has to go for his review.
Okay.
Are you going to waste all the time until Speaker leaves for his review? Then you now turn again and say, you see the Speaker, he's not willing to help the government.
When is he due for his review? The next one?
So far as I'm concerned, it's this weekend. Unless something has changed.
Or your other colleagues, they don't know that?
That's what I'm surprised. For them to say they don't know this.
Biche doesn't know.
How will he? How will he say he doesn't know?
Because health matters. Was it communicated at the leadership meeting?
Because you see, that is another problem. Whether the Speaker is on your side or opposite, if you have business, you go discuss the Speaker. Speaker, we have this. We'll be grateful for this if you could ring fence it to be there. Look, when I was the governor with Speaker Duajao, the Speaker, I'll go and say to Muntaka, because of this, that I cannot be around this, and then I'll quickly ask Jogate. I'll fall on Baton Odro and Jogate, and we'll program. Sometimes weeks ahead, Jogate is alive. Go and ask him. I will program. We'll program. So, for next week, Speaker is going to do this. So we want to beg you. So if you can look at it and pencil it down in your diary, that is when you are efficient.
So Speaker will not be there next week.
So if Speaker is not there, and then you come and then you are putting blame on Speaker, are you being fair?
I mean, I keep coming.
That's what
I keep coming back to the question because
that is why I keep saying that.
What you said,
unless something is going to change, I know he'll be his review. His next review will be
this weekend.
This weekend,
which takes him out of the equation for next week.
A week or two.
For at least the time that has been scheduled according to the paper that was read on the floor by the majority leader. He won't be there next week if he keeps to that schedule.
If he keeps to that schedule, and who do you blame? Even sincerely, don't you see clearly as leadership failure?
Now, Muntaka Mubarak was also emphatic. He cannot guarantee there will not be another clash on the floor of Parliament next week if whoever acts as Speaker attempts to vote again while Mr. Badmin is away for his medical review.
Look, it's very shameful. It's very painful. It is very unfortunate. And we keep apologizing to the extent that I even said that, look, the way we apologize, Ghanaians will not even take us seriously. But so long as people want to alter the rules, you can never guarantee that there will be no, what we call confusion in the chamber. It's not possible. Because the reason is that, why will you see sometimes fists in the American Congress after over 200 years of practice? Why will you see it in the Commons? Why will you see it in other parliaments that are much, much older than ours? Anything that happens on the floor of Parliament, when it comes to its processes, it's a closed book. You can't contest it anywhere. So because of that, if you allow it to happen, that's it. You are out. So because of that, it makes it extremely difficult when the rules are being, altered to favor a certain situation.
So the point to notice, if the majority side next week, assuming the Speaker goes on his review, and Joseph sits, and Joseph by the way has already interpreted the Constitution to say he can vote. If that plays out again, you say there are no guarantees that we can't expect disturbance on the floor.
I can bet you will resist that.
Okay.
After that, we will resist.
Every means possible?
Well, I really wish the our resistance will not lead to what do you call it, the exchange of blows, but we will do everything to prevent that from happening. And I pray that we don't get there where it becomes necessary for us to say that we are going to resist by every means possible. I mean, it's not my prayer, but one thing that I can tell you, for a sitting speaker to be sitting there and come saying that I'm coming down to vote, that will be too difficult for our side to take.
You want to catch that full interview on PM Express right after this bulletin at 9 p.m. Let's go to Zoom and speak to the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Rashid Rahman. Doc, thank you for joining us. We have been warned that there could be another showdown. What do we do?
Well, I guess what we need to do is what Honorable Muntaka has been talking about. I mean, I know the Right Honorable Speaker has been in town, and we all saw him yesterday at the first sitting, first meeting of the second sitting. I know there are issues in Parliament, particularly between the majority side and the minority side, and sometimes the Speaker is drawn into it, of course, because he's from the NDC's talk and so on. But I think whatever it is, we need to find a way to make sure that maybe the calendar of Parliament, particularly critical issues like this, will be worked around the presence of the Speaker. Because once the Speaker is not there, there is no way that any key legislation that requires a vote is going to pass, because it's going to be 137, 137, and that is deemed to have completely collapsed. So I think, as Honorable Muntaka was indicating, yes, there are issues, but it goes back to the consensus and the discussion, the dialogue that we've been talking about all this while. Yeah. I believe if there was that dialogue, there was some consensus, perhaps it might not be difficult to sit down and have a conversation with the Speaker and try to arrange schedules in such a way that they revolve around, because he has a health issue that cannot wait. But perhaps any other vote or maybe piece of legislation could wait, but human life cannot wait if it needs attention. And that is why it will be very, very important. I would have thought, in fact, my hope was that, during this week, the bill was going to come to Parliament and the Speaker is there, then comfortably the bill will be passed, because the NDC would have 137, the MPP would have 138. We will see this bill passed without any event and without any confusion.
The confusion, as we already know, stems from the interpretation on the standing orders as to whether or not Joe Osei-Owusu, when he assumes that seat, can vote. He has interpreted it as having the power to still vote because he's still a member of Parliament. What do you think? What is your take, first of all, on this? And how do you think it should be resolved whilst we have the Speaker around?
Well, I mean, once we have the Speaker around, once we have the Speaker around, this issue is a non-issue. But once the Speaker is not around, it becomes an issue. And for me personally, I think my reading of the standing orders and the Constitution, Honorable Joe Osei-Owusu could be counted as a member of Parliament for the purposes of quorum. Yeah. I mean, that's just my interpretation. But when he presides and there is a ruling that has to be voted on, I think I have difficulty seeing him be part of, voting on an issue that he's presiding over. That is where the difficulty is. And I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. So until we get a clear interpretation, maybe by the Supreme Court, and that's not going to come tomorrow. So until that is done, I think that's the situation we have on our hands. Now, and if the NDC is sending a very clear signal that if it repeats, their action is going to be repeated, then we are in for a very rough ride.
Now, Dr. Draman, finally, we know that the finance minister is in talks with some members of parliament for the other side, actually, to consult with them still on this controversial e-levy. Would you advise that whilst the speaker is away, they pull the brakes on this vote and await his return in order to transact business on this particular one?
Yes, that's on one condition. That is, if the discussion with members of parliament, particularly those from the opposition, the minority side, if the discussion with the finance minister is not fruitful, then I think I would advise that if the bill can wait, let the bill wait, let the speaker come back, and let the vote be taken, and let the MPP get his way, because it will have a one-person advantage. But if the bill cannot wait, and then the speaker is not there, the whip has already sent a very clear signal. Perhaps maybe some negotiation behind the scenes might allow them. But you see, whoever is going to negotiate with the minority right now, they are going to say, if somebody is trying to break the rule or abuse the constitution in their view, they cannot take it. And I don't know how they can be convinced otherwise. And that is where the difficulty is.
Indeed, this is very difficult. But Dr. Draman, I'm grateful that you could join us on JoyNews Prime. Hopefully, if they're listening, something will be done to avert any fiscal exchanges on the floor.